As we emerge from the hurt we learn, I was shattered, bruised and torn, left alone to rebuild, reborn. You took my voice, I
Hey,
took the
welcome.
pain,
This
but
is
now
Phoenix's Rising Academy. I am Coach T. And guess what? Your blessings are in your ashes. Let's get to it. This podcast is titled, You Are From the Future, Why You Felt Like an Alien in Your Own Bloodline. Coming from the future doesn't look like flying cars or robots. It looks like being rejected from every place you've tried to belong. It looks like building something sacred only to watch other people show up, not to support you, but to take. Right when you're about to rise, they come, not to cheer you on, but to drain you, to disorient, to distract, to collect what you've worked so hard for. Because when you're from the future, you're not just ahead of your time, you're outside of their timeline completely. And that makes them jealous. You weren't sent here to be liked. You were sent to restore what was broken before your feet even touched the ground. When you're a Black woman encoded with light, vision, with soul technology that hasn't even dropped yet in this reality, there will be people who will create patterns and project energies, and it'll come sometimes from your own family, that try to shut you down before you've been fully activated. That alien feeling, that wasn't a flaw, that was a signal. You've always carried a memory the world hoped you'd forget. You're not from here. You were sent here. Your soul isn't strange. Your soul isn't tainted. Your energy isn't too much. Your timing actually isn't off. You're a time traveler on assignment. You came here to purify the root, reset the pattern, and rewrite the prophecy. That's why people stare at you like they recognize something. Why strangers envy you before you've even said a word. Why family members always kept you at arm's length, even if they couldn't explain why. It's not personal. It's ancestral. It's spiritual. Their soul remembers just like yours does. You didn't just land in this generation, you chose it. You said, I'll go back. I'll hold the pain. I'll break the cycles no one else could. And every time it felt like life broke you, every betrayal, every theft, every time someone came to you to take what you built, that wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to realign you, to bring you back to your remembering, to remind you you came from the future. You're not here to survive this world. You're here to reconstruct it. So now what? You stand in the power they called strange. You stop translating your 30-30 frequency for a 20-25 crowd. You build what you came to build, and this time, you seal it. Your gifts are sacred, Phoenix. Your light is not up for public access. Your destiny is not a group project. From this point forward, you protect your peaks. You close every siphon. You revoke every silent contract that said you owe your brilliance to people who chose to stay in the dark. You're not an alien, you're an architect. You came through time, not to be understood, but to be felt. And now it's time. Not to explain, but to embody. Hopefully you got something out of this, Phoenixes. I'm sorry that I stumbled on my words. I wrote this out and had it updated using Nova, my AI assistant. And the thought came to me along with a whole bunch of others just about, and it was weird how it just kind of popped up into my head and was playing out, because all this time, for a great chunk of my life, everybody kept staring at me. Some would stare um with a lustful, voracious kind of, grin on their face too. Others would stare with joy and fascination, um, followed by you were so great. You know what I mean? I never look, and always noticed that they looked, now that I know is my crown area, they looked above me. They didn't look at me. Um, and I always felt like I was different. Like, no, and I still do. Like, I don't fit. And I've always said I am on the cusp of everything, right? I mean, like, good or bad. If you guys have ever saw, what was it, Lost Girl, where she was, the show, I believe, I don't remember who starred in it, but it was, God, 20 years ago, 2 years, or not 20 years, but about 10 years ago, maybe, in the late 20s, or maybe 2015. Anyway, it was a show called Lost Girl. And supernatural, about Faye, and you had the Morgan, and all these, and she was in between. She refused, the main character refused to pick a side. And I think after going through as much trauma that I have gone through and survived and processed it, I think, and this is evolution. This isn't, to say anything, but that this is the experience many of us have, and feeling that, hey, I don't belong to one side or the other. I am here to do something that is above both sides, right? So I told Nova, my AI agent, and I told this story, and she put it in the format, but I wanted to say, because a lot of us feel like aliens, I mean, I wasn't the only one. And we don't. I never fit in with the stoners. I never fit in with the jocks. I never fit in with the nerds. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of a little bit of everything, right? Um, and I could have gone either way, but I really, for me, my palette, my spiritual palette, it has always been just of a spiritual nature. I don't like being locked down by anybody, because anytime you join a group of something, except for as Phoenix's Rising Academy, anytime you join a group of something, you have somebody, because it was so rife with narcissists. And especially if they saw that an empath was coming through, or, going to join the group, then that narcissist tethered themselves to the empath to raise themselves up in that group, to take to kind of cut out their position. And it sucked, you know? I mean, from 12-step groups to fit clubs and all of that stuff. It sucked. And so it's not that I believe that many of us want to be by ourselves, but it's something that we have to do because our very nature is supernatural. And people can't help but, whether whether they're cluster B or not, they can't help but try and extract something, right? Because all of us, the human cycle, birth, life, and death, is to try and you're going to have a time, depending, on your path and previous, what's in your bloodline. You may have that path where you're going to have to, you're going to lose time because people distract you. You got distracted, whether it be through a traumatic event, somebody trying to unalive you because they saw what you were getting ready to do, right? That's why I said you have to start. My spiritual mom taught me a long time ago, start seeing things from spiritual eyes, right? And so one thing I learned too was that, the more I grew spiritually, consciously, right, in Christ consciousness, I mean, like true Christ consciousness, not this fake stuff that people just, want to get monetized on TikTok and YouTube for regurgitating, but true Christ consciousness, um, is the is the more that I was isolated automatically, energetically, right? Imagine that, so just, this is just, I'm saying this and sharing, my process, my path, um, with you guys, like, telling this so that you can understand that, hey, sometimes it's not you, it's not you, it's not you. That's one thing on my journey. The Most High has always shown me it's not you. My guides had to actually tell me it's not you because I was about ready to freak, out at one point in time, where it's like, because you think you get rid of these. In my journey, I thought, oh, okay, gosh, I'm out of this. You told me to move here, Most High. So now, okay, this should be over. Nope. And it's because people have free will. So the demonic energies that was attached to certain people would redo the whole thing over again. I'm going to do a podcast about that. But you ought, when you grow, that's why people stop. They will dim, they will sabotage themselves and dim their own light because they're not understanding you are in this world, but you are not of it. Says that clearly in the Bible, but unfortunately, the Bible and all of its mistranslations does not elaborate. It leaves out details that you need to know. You are in the world, but you are not of this place. This place already has rulers and masters. You are here for them to siphon. That's what they seem. That's what, just like a cluster B personality. They what? When they hold you hostage in relationships. It doesn't matter if it's your coworker or your spouse or the soccer team or the trainer or whatever. They hold you hostage. Because in their minds, you are now their possession because they looked at you and they recognized you as a food source. Because they can literally not produce what you produce, right? And then they get other people to join in, But sometimes, besides that direct attack, conscious attack from them, sometimes it's sometimes, and we having to isolate ourselves. Sometimes it's the isolation is just you grow. You can't help but grow. So you are that light in the midst of darkness that has grown so much that sometimes now you've whited out everything. Right? And nobody, people will look, I mean, when I was, this was at a young age, man. At a young age, and people were like, and I would hear their thoughts because sometimes people talk. It's not like being clairaudient necessarily, but because sometimes the energy vibration that projects, the emits from other people is sometimes they were so taken aback that I would hear them. They would try not to say it openly, verbally, audibly, but it was kind of, how like it kind of gets muffled, but they're thinking more than they're saying. And so it's that combination. And people were like, "Oh my God, I can't live up to this." And it wasn't that I was trying to live up to something, I just was. But it was something that was shining inside of me. So do not be afraid. And yes, it gets lonely sometimes. It gets lonely a lot of the time. And it's hard to find people of your own caliber, your own energy level. And not just that, but even when you find people who are of your own energy level who aren't carrying bitterness, because they see you now, you're the one that's healed throughout the time that you've gone through whatever you've gone through, and you meet somebody and they're the ones that are bitter, and because they see you, now they're saying, "Oh, now I'm going to make you the target, because they don't understand, in order to heal, you don't have to do, right? You don't have to become the victim. The victim does not have to become the predator. And the reason why you're still a victim is because you've never healed from it. And then all that bitterness, and the people who are like that, they will start to mutate and, become a vessel for demonic entities, because you already house it. When you start looking at somebody who you've wanted to, who you've been longing for, you've been longing to have your soul tried, and you're going there with bitterness because you're still triggered, right? But you don't have any tools, which is what I provide with my 8-week workshop. You don't have any tools, then, you're going to end up doing the same thing over and over again. And everything that you've gone through will be for nothing, because you haven't transmuted it into light. In light meaning wisdom, light meaning wealth, light meaning prosperity, light meaning success, light meaning, a lineage, a legacy. You haven't transmuted. You've literally been sitting there waiting to have somebody that you could abuse in the same way that you were abused. But in the meantime, you're going to be spewing this love and light garbage. Feel me? Somebody needed to hear that. All right. Anyway, hopefully this helped somebody. If it did, please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications when I post again. I would appreciate any type of support for my channel, including going to my website, www.phoenixesrising.com, or excuse me, www.phoenixesrisingacademy.com. And there you can get music inspired by Narcissistic Recovery. You can get journals, and I'm still everything's still a work in progress. Just DM me if you have any problems or anything like that. My 8-week online workshop, from Sealed to Healed, is to start August, September. Right now I have August 20th, but you can get the early bird special right now before August, and after that it'll be the regular price. But and if you want a free audio, you can go to my about page, and there's a link there for you to receive a free audio download meditation to it's called Throne of Light, Energetic Shielding and Meditation. And it's pretty supernatural, and it's pretty powerful. It's kind of like that Dispenza, kind of style, where it's pretty fast paced. So, and all of this I've, done myself. So anyway, loves, I hope that this helps. And remember, from the ashes we rise. From the soul,
you took my
we
voice, I took
This
the
is Phoenix's
pain,
Rising Academy.
but
I'm
now
Coach T,
I rise,
and I
I'm
love you.
breaking chains. I'm the phoenix rising, can't you see? You can't break